relaxing. Why this is so important, what you're discussing with scalar energy is so important, is that we're all inflamed because of this low-grade infection coming from these outside toxins that are in our body, that are coming into our body from our environmental status. So this kind of hogwash of everything's cancer and MS and, you know, whatever it may be, is all DNA genetically passed on from father to the son or mother to daughter, whatever it may be. You would challenge that, wouldn't you?
I would.
Yeah, and why? And why?
Well, I just would. I think another thing that we're all dealing with right now in this point in time is the solar flares that are bombarding the Earth. I mean, I never get sick, ever. And over the last couple of weeks, I've been struggling. My wife's been struggling, and it's because we're under such intense bombardment, I think, from plasma waves coming from the sun.
And so what's in the plasma waves? How is it worse than glyphosate or the aluminum metals, you know?
No, it's not worse. It's not worse than that, but I think it's just an overload energetically to what the human body can stand.
So it's almost like this increase from a 2.5G to a 5G EMFs.
Pretty much.
So now you're just adding on to this increase.
Right.
So maybe with solar flares, we're probably at a 10G, you know, or
I mean,
periodically, whatever.
I mean, it's extreme right now. People are getting sick all over the place.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so walk us through that, because this is fascinating. Because so this increase in EMFs or increase in solar energy, which is, I guess, EMFs. I assume solar energy is different, plasma is different.
Yeah,
this increase in extra energy, let's just call it, is messing with our energetic fields, not only around us, which we have this kind of apple-shaped energetic field around us, but also this energetic field within us, in our cells and everything else, right? So it messes up by just pattern interference?
So I'm saying it's draining the body and then making the body more susceptible to viruses and different problems.
It's compromising our immune system once again. Yeah. It all comes down to the immune system. Tell me a little about that, what you have there.
Right. So when I met Professor Mile back in 2007, I really embraced his longitudinal waves. We were using a radionics technique at the time to create these biological changes, and I switched over. I embraced his board, which would look something like this at that time. And over the course of working with him 2 or 3 years, I began to develop larger and larger and larger boards. And because what I was trying to do is create more and more and more power and not just stay in a millivolt category. And we also were interested in programming substrates and not necessarily programming the human body directly.
All right, okay, we're losing some people here. So explain what a board is, and like this is, like, you could condense it down to a very microchip too. This is a much bigger version of it, or something.
Well, yeah, this is all vortex physics. So everything, if we're going to pull information out of a certain molecule, let's say we're going to extract the information out of calcium.
Okay.
We've got to spin it a certain way to pull that information out. And the way you do that is with pancake coils.
Okay.
So we've developed different styles of pancake coils to be able to extract the information, number one, and then to deposit that information back into the wristbands, the holograms, whatever we want to program. Water would be another choice. So anything that'll hold the information that we're extracting, then we use these boards to do that.
So like centrifugal speed or gravity will actually pull it out?
Like a black hole in space.
Yeah.
You go past the event horizon, and then it's going to the middle. You can't stop it.
And you're pulling. And is this stuff coming out of the DNA of these things?
It's coming out of the electronics of the molecule.
It's like you're pulling the electrons outside of that. You're taking out the electrons outside of the molecule that makes the molecule shape, right?
Exactly.
And then it collapses, the protons and neutrons, and what happens?
Well, we're actually looking at boards like this to see if we can't replicate heavy hydrogen, as long as you know the neutron and the proton and how the electron, how they spin and how they interact. Right. We think we're going to be able to take boards like this and create those interreactions in a much less expensive way than has ever been done before.
Okay, and pragmatically could be used for what? By doing this process, how could it be?
Power applications, all sorts of applications. Anything that you can do with a molecule then you could do it.
Fusion, we're talking
Yeah,
here.
you could do fusion, you could do heavy hydrogen, you could do a lot of different things.
In a much safer matter, right?
Totally safe, yeah.
Because it's scalar.
Yeah, you don't need the heat, you don't need all the power involved.
Right. So no nuclear wars we have to worry about in this sense. It's extracted in a safe, harmless manner.
Right.
And so, well, that's just fascinating.
Yeah,
actually.
and we've got physics. We've got good hard physics behind a lot of this.
Yeah.
And one of the latest books that Professor Mile has done is called The Scalar Wave Wars.
Okay, what is this? What language is it in? Spanish?
That's in Spanish. Yeah, I got him to send me a Spanish version because I'm translating it from Spanish over to English right now.
So he doesn't have an English version of this?
On purpose.
And because he didn't want to be shut down.
There's some very damning things in here in regard to the U.S. government that's in his book. So he brought it out in German, he brought it out in French, he brought it out in several different languages, but not us.
Yeah, they only let you get so big before they start cloning you or making you dress up or disappear you. So that's fascinating how that he had to do it in other languages because he didn't want to say. So,
well, he's drawing some contrast between the Soviet Union and the U.S. So the Soviets embraced Tesla's technology to a huge degree back years and years and years ago. So they've developed things that we don't even have over here yet. Right. There's a huge difference in technology.
There's a big gap. I mean, even a gap between overseas versus here. Not to mention like our secret space program, which we learn from like people like Billy Carson. They're 300 years more advanced than we are, like in mainstream here in the.